My beloved child, there are moments when you feel as though you have been left behind. Yet it is precisely within those silent intervals that I am laying foundations your eyes cannot yet perceive. You measure time by outward movement, but I measure it by inward transformation. When you think you are standing still, I am quietly causing your roots to grow deeper and stronger. As it is written, "Blessed is the man who trusts in the Lord. He will be like a tree planted by the waters." Jeremiah 17:7-8. Your growth is not sustained by what is visible before you, but by what is silently nourished within the depths of your soul. And then you begin to realize this: the pressures you once sought to avoid are the very instruments I use to expand your capacity, not to break you down, but to strengthen you beyond what you once believed possible. You have often wondered why everything feels heavier when you try to walk rightly. Yet you have not yet understood that when I prepare you for greater things, I cannot leave your former state unchanged. As it is written, consider it pure joy when you face trials of many kinds, because the testing of your faith produces perseverance. James 1:2-3. Every weight you feel is not meaningless burden, but compressing force, shaping you into one who can carry what is greater. There are times when my silence makes you feel distant, but listen more carefully. It is precisely in that quietness that I am doing my deepest work. What surface noise cannot reach, I am addressing in the depths. As a seed buried in the soil does not disappear but begins to sprout, so you are not forgotten. You are being restructured from within. Be still and know that I am God. Psalm 46:10. For silence is not the distance between us, but the place where I draw you nearer in ways words cannot express. Remember the story of the faithful servant in the parable of the talents. The one who received less was not abandoned, nor was the one who received more favored differently. Each was tested according to what had been entrusted to them. The one who guarded and multiplied what was given entered into greater realms. Do you see? I do not measure you by the speed of your journey, but by how you steward and mature in what I place in your hands. Well done, good and faithful servant. Enter into the joy of your master. Matthew 25:21. For faithfulness in hidden seasons is the key that unlocks manifested seasons. Therefore, do not mistake delay for absence of preparation. The days when everything seems slowed are the very moments I am aligning your steps with what I have ordained. If I allowed you to move too quickly before your foundation was firm, you would not be able to sustain what I intend to entrust to you. But when I restrain your pace, it is because I am building within you a stability that circumstances cannot shake. The Lord makes firm the steps of the one who delights in him. Psalm 37:23. And every step you take is not random, but formed within wisdom, far beyond your understanding. And beloved, look back at all you have walked through. What once made you tremble no longer holds power over you. Wounds that once governed your inner world have become memories without authority. This is not the result of time alone, but of my work within you. I have separated you from invisible chains you once could not even recognize. I have strengthened you from within, so that when you step forward, you no longer depend on circumstances to remain standing. Do not fear the fire, for it does not come to destroy you, but to reveal your true essence, like gold refined through heat. You do not lose your worth in trials. You become clearer in your value. When he has tested me, I shall come forth as gold. Job 23:10 is not merely a statement, but a process you are living through. And I am present in every moment, never taking my eyes off you, never allowing you to be pushed beyond what you can endure. Now, walk forward with this new understanding. No season of yours is meaningless. No waiting is wasted. No silence is empty. All things are working together to shape you into the person I have seen from the beginning. And when the appointed time arrives, You will not merely step forward, you will step forward with steadiness, with clarity, with a depth that cannot be imitated or fabricated. Be at peace, my child. What I have begun in you, I will complete. He who began a good work in you will carry it on to completion until the day of Christ Jesus. Philippians 1-6. And when you look back, you will no longer call it delay, you will call it perfect preparation. My beloved child, what you are sensing is not chaotic disturbance, but a movement being initiated from the deepest place within your soul. There is a silent wave rising within you, unspoken yet powerful, and I want you to understand clearly, this is not evidence of losing direction, but evidence that you are approaching the threshold of a new season. When transformation begins within, it always carries both unfamiliarity and urgency, like a seed cracking open not because it is being broken, but because it is being unfolded. As it is written, see, I am doing a new thing, now it springs up. Do you not perceive it? Isaiah 43:19. What I am beginning in you is not a repetition of what has been, but a reality that has never existed in your life before. Therefore, do not let your heart turn backward as though anything there still holds your future. What I have removed from your hands is not loss, but liberation from old limitations that once confined you. There are things you once called yours, yet they were never aligned with the path I ordained. When I separated you from them, it was not deprivation, but deliverance so that you might carry what is truly meant for you. Forget the former things, do not dwell on the past. Isaiah 43:18. Not because the past is meaningless, but because it has fulfilled its role in preparing you for what comes next. You may have wondered why there were moments when I held you back, preventing you from moving at the speed you desired. But now you must see more clearly. That restraint was not rejection, but arrangement. When a builder lays a deep foundation, they do not rush to raise the structure. For what sustains the building is not what is seen, but what has been placed in silence. So it is with you. I have been working in depths you could not perceive, so that when you emerge, you will not only go far, but stand firm. He has made everything beautiful in its time. Ecclesiastes 3:11. And you are being aligned precisely into the time that has been set, not early, not late. Remember the story of David when he was still a shepherd in the wilderness. No one saw him. No one praised him. Yet it was there that I trained him. When he faced the lion and the bear, it was not to prove himself to others, but to prepare him for the day he would stand before Goliath. Had David been taken directly to the battlefield without those hidden years, he would not have possessed the stability to confront the giant. Do you see? Hidden seasons are not waste. They are where I refine you for battles you have not yet seen. The Lord who delivered me from the paw of the lion and the paw of the bear will deliver me from the hand of this Philistine. 1 Samuel 17:37. And it was the memory of preparation that became the strength for the step forward. Therefore, now when I call you, do not respond as one still filled with doubt, but as one who has already been shaped. You no longer walk with the mindset of someone delayed, but with the awareness of one who has been prepared. What you have walked through has not weakened you. It has made you fitting for what I have already set aside for you. Every tear, every waiting season, every moment you thought you were losing direction, all of it has contributed to forming you into one who can carry what is greater. And beloved, let this be deeply engraved within you. I never bring you into a process to lose you. I bring you into it to reveal you the true version I have seen from the beginning. What is not truly you will fall away, so that what is genuine may emerge, as a potter reshapes clay in his hands, not to destroy it, but to reform it into something better. So am I working upon you, like clay in the hand of the potter. So are you in my hand, Jeremiah 18, 6. You are not outside my control, but held within the center of my care. Now, as you stand before a new threshold, walk forward with the understanding that you are not arriving there by accident. You are not entering the future as one unprepared, but as one refined through every stage. And as you move, you will realize that nothing you have lived through has been fragmented or random, but a continuous flow leading you to this very moment. Rise up, my child, not in haste, but in certainty. Do not carry yesterday's fear into tomorrow's path. You are no longer one who is confused by the unknown, but one who recognizes the call and responds in trust. For when I call, it is never a random invitation. It is the completion of a process I have patiently carried out within you for a long time. My beloved child, slow your heart and discern what I am doing. For what you feel is not meaningless disorder, but the precise movement of my hand upon your life. There are seasons when I speak little, when I explain nothing step by step, when I do not answer every question you raise. Yet this does not mean I am absent. On the contrary, it is in that silence that I am most focused in forming your true shape, as a craftsman does not require words to create a masterpiece. Neither do I need noise to complete my work within you. Can I not do with you, Israel, as this potter does? Jeremiah 18:6. You are not abandoned within the turning of circumstances, but held firmly within my loving governance. There are moments when you feel pressed from every side, as though everything is tightening, leaving no breath, no way forward, and you interpret it as collapse. But you must understand this more deeply. I do not press you to break you, I press you to form you. When clay is still soft, it requires pressure to become something stable. Without compression, it remains formless. Without shaping force, it never becomes useful. So it is with you. What you call chaos is the very process I use to bring you into a higher order. After you have suffered a little while, the God of all grace will restore you and make you strong, firm, and steadfast. 1 Peter 5:10. Every pressure you endure is contributing to the strengthening of your foundation. Look back, and you will see that there are parts within you that once hardened because of pain, closed off because of fear, and drifted off course because of incomplete choices. If I had not touched those places, softened them, and adjusted them, they would have continued to hold you within an old form. Yet when I place my hand upon you, you often feel that intervention as discomfort, even as loss of control. You do not understand why what is familiar is being altered. Why what you once held tightly is no longer there. But I say to you, I do not take away to leave you empty. I take away to create space for what is more right. He heals the brokenhearted and binds up their wounds. Psalm 147:3. Every time I touch a place of pain, it is not to remind you of the wound, but to release you from it. And then you will realize that the very movements you cannot control are the ones leading you into a form you could never produce on your own. You cannot shape yourself into what I have ordained, for there are depths within you that only I can see, and potentials only I know how to awaken. As Joseph was brought through years of misunderstanding, betrayal, and imprisonment, everything appeared to be the collapse of a dream. Yet within those very cycles, I was shaping him into one who could stand before a throne without being distorted by power. The Lord was with Joseph and showed him steadfast love. Genesis 39:21. For my presence does not always remove difficulty, but it always ensures that even difficulty serves my purpose. My beloved, do not rush to escape the process while I am still at work. If you step out too early, the form will not be complete. The structure will not be stable. and you will not be able to sustain what I intend to entrust to you. I do not extend the process to test your endurance, but to ensure that when you emerge, you are not only refined outwardly, but strengthened inwardly. Idate, the Lord. Search the heart and examine the mind. Jeremiah 17:10. For I see what you have not yet recognized, and I work in places you have not yet perceived. Trust that every moment you feel yourself being turned, pressed down, or lifted up is part of this forming. No movement is meaningless. No pressure is excessive. All of it is measured within my wisdom. And when the process is complete, you will no longer recognize your former self. You will become a vessel able to carry what is greater than you, not fractured by pressure, not distorted by circumstance. Therefore, my child, rest within my hand. Do not fear what you cannot control, for you were never called to control the process. You were called to trust the one who is carrying it out. In surrendering to me, you are not losing yourself. You are being found in the true form I designed from the beginning. And when I complete this work, you will understand that no turning was wasted. No pressing was meaningless. All of it was the imprint of my love toward you. A love that does not only comfort, but transforms. My beloved child, listen deeply within your heart, for what is now emerging is not foreign to you, but something I have placed within you long ago. There are parts of you that have lain still like seeds beneath heavy soil, not because they were dead, but because they were waiting for the appointed time to rise. Now that time is drawing near. What was once covered will no longer remain hidden. What was once dormant will begin to move, not by your effort, but by my established power. As it is written, what I open, no one can shut, and what I shut, no one can open. Revelation 3:7. I am the one who determines the appointed time, and when I act, nothing can restrain it. Therefore, my child, do not try to force open what I have not yet opened, nor be alarmed when a door suddenly opens wide before you. What you need is not striving, but readiness, for there are doors that do not respond to human effort, but to alignment with heaven's timing. When the appointed moment arrives, what once seemed impossible becomes natural, as though it had always been waiting for you to step into it. To everything there is a season, and a time for every matter under heaven. Ecclesiastes 3:1. And you now stand at the boundary between what is past and what is about to begin. Understand this: the years you thought were repetitive, the days you perceived as mere endurance, were in fact continuous training. Like a soldier formed through disciplined repetition until movement becomes instinct, so you too have been shaped through what once appeared insignificant. And when you enter this new reality, you will no longer need to struggle to remember what to do, for it will already be written within you. Be strong and courageous, for the Lord your God is with you. Joshua 1:9. You are not entering alone, but under my sustaining presence. But more than that, you are not only like a soldier stepping into battle, you are also like a priest passing beyond the veil. There was once a clear boundary between where you stood and the place where my deeper presence dwelt. Yet now I am leading you into a place where distance dissolves, where you do not merely know of me, but experience me. Let us draw near with a true heart in full assurance of faith. Hebrews 10:22. For this is not a random step, but an invitation prepared long before you were aware of it. Therefore, my beloved, do not carry your former identity into the place I am bringing you. You are no longer one waiting to be validated, you are one already established. You are no longer questioning whether you are enough, you are one already equipped. What needed shaping has been completed in the silence you once did not understand. What needed refining was accomplished in the seasons you thought were confusion. Now, As you step forward, you do not walk in uncertainty, but in the awareness that I have completed my part. Remember Elisha as he followed Elijah, waiting for the appointed transition. He did not seize the mantle, he did not claim authority, he simply remained faithful until the moment arrived. And when Elijah was taken up, the mantle fell not because Elisha grasped it prematurely, but because the time had come. Let a double portion of your spirit be upon me, 2 Kings 2:9. And it was granted not through striving, but through readiness and faithfulness. So it is with you. What I am about to release into your life will not come through pursuit, but through what has been formed within your endurance. So do not doubt when things begin to shift. Do not withdraw when doors open. Do not walk as one still uncertain of readiness. You have been prepared far more than you realize. What was formed in hidden places will now be revealed in the light. And when you step in, you will understand that you are not starting from nothing. You are entering the continuation of a path I have already quietly completed. Rise, my child, with a renewed posture, not as one hesitating, but as one who recognizes the appointed time has arrived. And as you walk, you will see that every open door is not coincidence, but confirmation that you are moving within the flow of what I have established. My beloved child, when you look back upon the road you have walked, the seasons when you thought you had no strength left, I want you to see them through a different light. What you called exhaustion was not an ending, but the evidence of a journey brought to completion. Those who walk to the end of a road often carry weariness, not because they failed, but because they refused to stop halfway. And within that weariness lies a quiet testimony that you remained faithful. The one who endures to the end will be saved. Matthew 24:13. And your endurance is not invisible effort, but the foundation upon which I am now building what lies ahead. But let me take you deeper still, that fatigue is no longer a burden you are meant to carry. It has become a marker, a sacred boundary between what is past and what is about to come. When a season ends, your spirit perceives the shift before your mind can understand it. Therefore, do not rush to label that feeling as something negative. You are not weakening, you are completing. He gives strength to the weary and increases the power of the weak. Isaiah 40:29. And it is precisely in the place where you think you have nothing left to give that I begin to release what is new. And then there are moments when you stand before the future and feel your heart tremble, as though an unfamiliar wave touches something deep within you. You call it fear, but I tell you, it is the awareness of something holy drawing near. Your spirit is responding to a reality larger than its capacity to control. And this is not weakness. It is the sign that you are entering a space where my presence becomes unmistakably more real than ever before. Work out your salvation with fear and trembling, Philippians 2:12. For this trembling does not push you away. It keeps you in the right posture of humility as you step into what exceeds you. Do you see it now? When you stand before something great, if your heart feels completely at ease, as though everything is within your control, that is when you should be cautious. But when you feel trembling, it is the sign that you recognize you are not the center of this journey, I am. And that recognition protects you from pride, from misplaced confidence, and from drifting into self-reliance, allowing you instead to walk in true dependence. You may have walked through moments of self-doubt, times when you looked at your own capacity and saw it was not enough for what lies ahead. But hear me clearly, this is not regression. It is the opening of a door into deeper reliance upon me. When you come face to face with your limits, you are touching the beginning of true strength. Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. Proverbs 3:5. For I do not call you into the new season by confidence in yourself, but by trust in me. Remember Moses before the burning bush that did not consume itself. He did not feel sufficient for the assignment placed before him. He even sought reasons to step back. Yet it was within his awareness of inadequacy that my power was revealed. I will be with you, Exodus 3:12. That promise did not erase his weakness. It became the very place where my power was displayed. So it is with you. I do not wait for you to become perfect before I use you. I wait for you to recognize that in your insufficiency, you need me completely. Therefore, my beloved, when you feel unable to continue by your own strength, do not interpret it as a signal to stop. See it as an invitation to go deeper into rightful dependence. When you release the idea that you must carry everything yourself, you create space for me to operate fully within you. And when I act, you will discover that what you could not accomplish by your own strength becomes possible when I am within it. Now walk with this renewed understanding. You do not carry fatigue as a burden, but as a mark of maturation. You do not carry trembling as fear, but as right reverence. You do not carry doubt as a barrier, but as a doorway into deeper trust. And within all of it, I am with you not only to sustain you, but to lead you into what has already been prepared. Be at peace, my child. What you cannot complete on your own, I will complete through you. And when you look back, you will understand that every emotion you walked through, from weariness to trembling, from doubt to longing, was part of the pathway that brought you exactly where I intended you to be. My beloved child, pause for a moment and look deeply into what is unfolding within you. For what I am calling you to release is not effort, but the way you evaluate yourself. You have grown accustomed to measuring readiness by emotion when you feel strong. You think you can step forward when you feel small. You think you should stop. But I tell you this clearly, your readiness is not found in fluctuating feelings, but in the work I have quietly completed within you through every season. What I have built is not dependent on the instability of your heart, not by might nor by power, but by my Spirit. Zechariah 4:6. What is opening before you does not require you to be sufficient in the way you imagine, but to trust the one who has already prepared you. Therefore, do not carry the fear that you are not strong enough for what lies ahead. I have never placed upon you a burden you were meant to carry alone. If I call you, I also supply the strength. If I open the way, I also guide each step. You see only your limitations, but I see what I have placed within you, a life that does not originate from human capacity, but from me. As it is written, I can do all things through him who strengthens me, Philippians 4:13. Not because you have become strong in yourself, but because you are upheld by a strength beyond you. Stand before this boundary with a different awareness. My child, do not shrink back simply because you feel small in the presence of something great. A seed buried in the soil does not need to comprehend the vastness of the sky or the full path of its growth. It only needs to respond to the life already moving within it. And that response carries it through the darkness of the earth toward a light it has never seen. So it is with you. You do not need to grasp the fullness of the future in order to begin walking. You only need to respond to the call that is already resonating within you. For I am the one who placed that call there. Now faith is the assurance of things hoped for, the conviction of things not seen. Hebrews 11:1. You walk, not because everything is visible, but because you trust the one who leads you. And as you begin to move, you will see that what you once called breaking carries an entirely different meaning. You have feared fractures, shifts, and disruptions of old stability, believing them to be signs of collapse. But I tell you, they are the beginning of revelation. The ground does not crack to bury the seed, but to release its way upward. Without that breaking, life within would remain confined to darkness. Unless a grain of wheat falls into the earth and dies, it remains alone. But if it dies, it bears much fruit. John 12:24. What appears to be loss is not your ending, but the doorway for greater life to emerge. Remember Gideon, whom I called while he was still hiding in fear. He looked at himself and saw weakness, insignificance, and inadequacy. But I did not call him based on what he saw. I called him based on what I had placed within him. The Lord is with you, mighty warrior. Judges 6:12. That calling did not describe his present condition. It declared the future I had already ordained. And as he stepped forward, not in his own strength, but in obedience, the impossible became reality. So it is with you. What I speak over you is not confined to your present perception of yourself. Therefore, my beloved, engrave this within your heart. You are not arriving late, you are arriving in time. You are not left behind. You are being led into the place prepared for you long ago. What is rising within you is not a passing emotion, but life I have sown from the beginning, and when that life reaches its appointed time, no force can restrain it. Whatever God does endures forever. Nothing can be added to it, nor anything taken from it. Ecclesiastes 3:14. What I have begun in you will continue until it is fully revealed. Walk forward, not with certainty that comes from understanding everything, but with the peace that comes from knowing I am with you. Do not wait until you feel ready, for if you wait for that feeling, you will remain still. Walk because you have already been prepared. Move because I am guiding you, and trust that every step you take is already within the flow of my purpose. And when you look back, you will no longer ask, "Was I ready?" You will realize that I had already made you ready long before. My beloved child, slow yourself and discern what is happening deep within you. For there is a movement your eyes have not yet interpreted, but your spirit has already sensed. The space around you is no longer holding its former shape. A subtle shift is unfolding, as though everything is being realigned into a new order. You may not yet be able to name it, but you feel it in your breath, in your thoughts, in the quiet gaps between your ideas. The wind blows where it wishes. You hear its sound, but you do not know where it comes from or where it goes. John 3:8. Likewise, what I am doing does not require you to comprehend it fully in order to trust it. You only need to recognize that it is truly at work. And I want you to hear this as a clear confirmation, not as a possibility, not as a distant promise, but as a reality already unfolding within your present moment. What you thought was coming soon has already begun. It is no longer a point ahead of you to wait for, but a current that has already touched you. Now is the acceptable time. Now is the day of salvation. 2 Corinthians 6:2. The appointed moment is no longer in your future. It is permeating the very seconds you are living. Because of this, you begin to feel a misalignment between your former self and your former environment. What once felt familiar no longer fits in the same way. Spaces that once accommodated your old habits now feel constricted, not because they have changed, but because you have. I am making you incompatible with the limitations that once held you in place. This is not a separation of loss, but a transition of direction. Do not conform to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Romans 12:2. And this transformation does not allow you to return to what you were as though nothing has changed. Because within you, nothing is the same anymore. Remember Abraham. When I called him to leave what he knew, he was not given the full map before he stepped forward. He did not see the entire journey ahead, but he recognized the voice of the call and responded, "Go from your country to the land I will show you." Genesis 12:1. And in that step, an entirely new process began to unfold. So it is with you, not because you see everything clearly that you move, but because you have been touched by my leading. My beloved child, you will come to realize something profound. It is not the world around you that is forcing you to change, but you yourself no longer belong to the old structure. The thoughts that once guided you are no longer able to contain what I am placing within you. The old patterns of response no longer fit the new life forming inside you. This is not loss of control, it is inner reconstruction. I am reshaping the vessel so it can hold more. And if at times you feel unfamiliar with yourself, understand that this is not a sign of error, but a sign that rebirth is unfolding. When a seed breaks open, it no longer looks like what it once was. Yet it has not been lost. It has entered a new form of life. If anyone is in Christ, he is a new creation. The old has passed away. Behold, the new has come. 2 Corinthians 5:18. And this newness is not merely a spiritual idea, it is a living process taking place within you. Therefore, do not attempt to return to old stability simply because it feels familiar. What I am building within you cannot be contained in former structures. You cannot step into the new while preserving the old way of being. And I am not doing this to unsettle you, but to free you from limitations that no longer serve your becoming. Stand steady in this awareness. You are not being pulled randomly, you are being led into the current of what I have already begun. What is shifting within you is not instability, but evidence that new life has started to spread. And as you continue forward, you will realize you no longer need to return for validation. For you yourself have become the living testimony of what I am doing. My beloved child, what is opening before you is not a random coincidence, nor a fleeting moment of chance, but the culmination of a process I ordained long before you became aware of it. What you have called coincidence is, in truth, the convergence of many seasons through which I have quietly led you. No step you have taken has been meaningless. No path has been a detour. Every experience, every trial, every silence has been woven together into a single current that has carried you to this very moment. As it is written, the Lord establishes the steps of a man. Proverbs 16:9. You have not arrived here by accident. You have been brought here. Therefore, rise with a renewed awareness, not based on what you once thought about yourself, but on what I have done within you. You are not one who has been left behind, as you once feared. You are one who has been set apart and prepared in depths that not everyone is led through. There are paths I did not allow you to walk quickly, not because I forgot you, but because I was deepening your foundation. The last will be first, Matthew 20:16. For what I do does not follow human order, but wisdom beyond comparison. You are not one who has been delayed, as you once believed. The pauses you have experienced were not interruptions, but alignment. When an instrument falls out of tune, the musician does not rush to continue playing. He pauses to tune the strings to the right pitch. So I have done with you. The seasons of waiting were the moments I was adjusting you, so that when you step in, you move in harmony with what I am unfolding. There is a time for everything, Ecclesiastes 3:1. And you are standing precisely within the appointed moment, not early, not late. And from this moment forward, as you begin to move, you will notice a distinct difference. You will not walk as you once did. Before, you walked with hesitation, with uncertainty about your own worth, with fear that you might fail. But now, you walk with a deep inner knowing that everything you have gone through was not to weaken you, but to make you fit for what I have ordained. The cracks you once feared have become the places where light enters. The limits you once collided with have become the edges from which you break through. Remember Joseph, my child. He did not move directly from dream to fulfillment. He passed through pits, through years of obscurity, through circumstances that seemed entirely opposed to the promise. Yet none of those things disrupted my plan, they completed it. When he stood before his brothers, he could say, "You meant evil against me, but God meant it for good." Genesis 50:20. So it is with you. What you once perceived as adversity has been serving a greater purpose I established from the beginning. Therefore, engrave this deeply within your heart. I do not bring you into the refining fire to lose you. I do not lead you through difficult seasons to shatter you. I bring you into them to reveal you, to uncover the true version I saw from the beginning. When gold passes through fire, it does not disappear, it is purified. When you pass through the process, you are not lost, you are found. When he has tested me, I shall come forth as gold. Job 23:10. This is not merely a statement, but the reality you are living. And now, when I call, you will no longer respond as one who is confused. You will not stand still wondering whether you should step forward. You will recognize the call as familiar because it has been resonating within you for a long time. You are only now hearing it clearly. You do not step as one unprepared, but as one entering into what has already been prepared. My sheep hear my voice, and they follow me. John 10:27. You do not need to search in confusion. You only need to recognize and follow. Move forward, my child, not with haste, but with conviction. Do not turn back to check whether you are sufficient. For I myself have made you sufficient. Do not compare your journey with others, for you are walking a path uniquely appointed for you. And as you continue to step forward, you will see that what is unfolding is not a random beginning, but the continuation of a plan long established, a plan you are now living out, step by step, together with me, my beloved child. Open your heart to understand what I am teaching you at a deeper level, for your journey is no longer confined to distinguishing right from wrong in the ordinary sense. I am not only guiding you away from what is harmful, I am training you to discern what belongs to you and what does not. There are things that appear acceptable, even good. Yet if they are not aligned with the flow I have ordained, they are not the path for you. Therefore, do not allow yourself to be led by appearances or by what seems appealing before your eyes. Try to discern what is pleasing to the Lord. Ephesians 5:10. For I am sharpening your sensitivity to the life within a knowing that does not require display, yet is unmistakably clear, a recognition that needs no explanation, yet cannot be confused. And you will find that as you mature in this discernment, you are no longer drawn by easy choices or by every opportunity that presents itself. There are doors you once considered opportunities, but now you sense a quiet restraint within, not because the door is wrong, but because it is not meant for you. This is the sign that you are being established. You no longer live by what your eyes can see, but by what your spirit perceives. The righteous shall live by faith, Romans 1:17. And that faith is not blind. It is a trust in the inner guidance I have placed within you. There may be seasons when you feel unfamiliar even to yourself, as though you stand outside the flow of everything around you. Others seem to be moving forward swiftly, while you find yourself in a deep stillness, to the point where you question whether you have been left behind. But I want you to understand this clearly. It is not misalignment, it is preparation. I am drawing you into a space where noise cannot intrude, so that you may hear with clarity the direction I am setting for you. The Lord will fight for you, and you have only to be still. Exodus 14:14. For this stillness is not emptiness, but the place where I am arranging every detail with a precision you cannot yet see. Picture the surface of the sea before the wind shifts. My child, it appears calm, without waves or visible motion. Yet beneath the surface, a change is forming. When the wind comes, everything will move together, without force. So it is with you, The stillness you are experiencing is not the absence of movement, but the phase in which I am realigning the entire current of your life. When the moment arrives, you will not need to push things forward. You will find yourself carried naturally into a new rhythm. Remember Elijah when he withdrew into the cave and waited for me. A great wind passed, an earthquake, and fire followed. Yet I was not in those dramatic displays. I came in a gentle whisper. After the fire came a still small voice, 1 Kings 19:12. And it was in that quiet voice that his direction was revealed. So it is with you. If you seek me only in what is powerful and obvious, you may miss the subtle guidance I am offering you in the stillness. Therefore, my beloved child, do not rush to escape this stillness simply because you do not yet understand it. Do not chase the movement of others just to feel that you are progressing. I have not called you to follow the rhythm of the world. I have called you to walk in my rhythm. And at times, that rhythm begins with pausing, with listening, with trusting that even when you see nothing happening, I am still at work. Keep your heart at peace in this season. You are not removed from the current. You are being positioned so that when the current shifts, you will be at its very center. And when you step forward, you will realize that this silence was not an empty void, but a firm foundation for what I am about to reveal, something not merely good, but precisely right for you. My beloved child, too, there will come a moment when you look back at the things that once sustained you and realize they no longer hold you as they once did, not because they have become wrong, nor because they have lost their value, but because I have caused you to grow beyond their limits. What once brought you comfort now feels constricting, not because it has changed, but because your soul has been expanded. You may feel as though you can no longer breathe within former boundaries, as if something within you is urging you forward, even when you cannot yet name it. But I tell you, this is not instability. It is the sign that growth is actively taking place. You may have wondered whether you are becoming inconsistent, whether the shifts in your inner perception are signs of instability. But I say to you, no. You are not wavering. You are being enlarged. When I expand you, what was once enough will no longer suffice. When I increase your capacity, former structures will become too small. Enlarge the place of your tent. Do not hold back. Isaiah 54:2. This is not merely an outward call, but an inward transformation. I am making you broader, deeper, and therefore you can no longer live within the limitations you once knew. Understand this clearly. My child, the discomfort you feel is not a sign that you are on the wrong path, but a signal that you have outgrown the previous stage. When a garment becomes too tight, the problem is not the garment, it is that you have grown beyond it. If you try to force yourself back into it, you will feel suffocated. Not because you lack gratitude for what once was, but because you are resisting the growth I am bringing forth in you. No one pours new wine into old wineskins. Luke 5:37. What I am pouring into you cannot be contained within the structures you once relied upon. Remember David, when he was anointed as king, yet returned for a time to tend the sheep. He was no longer who he had been, yet he had not fully stepped into what was ahead. Between those two realities, there was tension, a sense of not belonging to the old, yet not fully inhabiting the new. You are in that same space. It is not disorientation, it is transition. And within that transition, I am allowing you to become familiar with your new identity before I place you into your new position. My beloved, do not fear the feeling of no longer fitting into what was once familiar. It is not a loss of direction, it is repositioning. I am leading you out of cycles that felt safe but were limiting, into a wider space you have not yet experienced. He brought me out into a spacious place, Psalm 18:19. And that spacious place does not always feel comfortable at first, because it requires you to release what you once held on to. Therefore, my child, do not try to hold on to everything simply because it was once good. Not everything that is good is right for this season of your life. I am teaching you to discern not only between right and wrong, but between what is fitting and what has already fulfilled its purpose. There are things you must release, not because they are harmful, but because they no longer serve your growth. Walk forward with this understanding. You are not losing your place. You are being brought into a larger space. You are not becoming unstable. You are being expanded. And what you are sensing is not meaningless disruption, but the movement of life growing within you. Trust me in this process. My child, when I enlarge you, I will also enlarge the space you are stepping into. When I increase you, I will also prepare the capacity around you. And as you continue to move forward, you will realize that today's discomfort is the very sign that you are drawing closer to what I have appointed, a place no longer confined, but wide enough for you to fully live in the identity I created for you. My beloved child, listen with the depth I have quietly cultivated within you through many seasons. For now, I am opening something you were not yet able to receive before. This is not the applause of the world, nor the recognition of the crowd, but a declaration that comes from me, the one who has watched every subtle movement of your life when no human eye could see. What I place upon your life is not based on what you display outwardly, but on who you are when everything around you is silent. Your Father, who sees in secret, will reward you, Matthew 6:6. And that reward is not only something you receive, but a place into which you are positioned, a place shaped by your faithfulness. There are paths you have walked that no one has fully understood. Long nights when you spoke and heard no answer. Moments when you stood between withdrawing and continuing. And you chose to remain. Not because you were stronger than others, but because you chose to trust even when there was nothing tangible to hold on to. And I have seen it all. I have seen you keep your heart soft when you had every reason to become hardened. I have seen you remain sincere when circumstances could have driven you into pretense. I have seen you allow me to touch the deep structures within you, those things you once clung to for security, so that I could break and rebuild them in a more enduring way. The Lord tests the righteous, Psalm 11:5. And that testing was not meant to weaken you, but to reveal that you can stand firm when everything else is shaken. You may have thought that what happened in the hidden place was unseen, that your quiet choices went unrecognized. But I tell you, nothing you have lived through in faithfulness has been overlooked. Every time you chose what was right instead of what was easy. Every time you kept integrity instead of seeking shortcuts. Every time you allowed me to refine you instead of resisting, each of these has been shaping you for the place I have prepared. Whoever is faithful in very little is also faithful in much. Luke 16:10. You have not only been tested in great matters, but confirmed through the small things that no one else could see. Remember Daniel, my beloved. He did not become distinguished in a single day. He lived through years of discipline, of faithfulness to me, even when no one was watching. When he opened his window to pray, he did not do so to be seen, but because that was who he truly was before me. And when the appointed time came, that hidden faithfulness became the foundation for public manifestation. My God sent his angel and shut the lions' mouths, Daniel 6:22. For the miracle was not random, it was the confirmation of a life that had already been established in righteousness. My beloved child, what I am doing now is not beginning from nothing, but revealing what has long been formed. I am not testing whether you can carry this. I have already seen you carry it in the hidden place. The seasons of silence were not empty spaces, but the place where I built you with strength and precision. And now, what I place upon you is no longer a distant promise, but a transfer. Therefore, Do not look at yourself through your former lens. Do not measure yourself by what you once were. You are no longer one striving to prove your worth. You are one who has been shaped within it. When I position you, you do not step in as one unprepared, but as one who has been formed through countless unseen details. Stand firm in this understanding. My child, what I entrust to you does not come from chance, but from faithfulness, not from performance, but from transformation. And when you step into it, you will understand that not a single tear, not a single moment of waiting, not a single quiet choice was meaningless. All of it was part of the path leading you to the very place I ordained for you from the beginning. My beloved child, what is opening before you is not an empty beginning, as though you must build again from the start, but the unveiling of what I have quietly formed within you through every season you once thought unseen. What you are stepping into is not foreign, but something that was planted within you long ago, nurtured in moments no one witnessed. You have not been brought here to test your capability, for I have already seen you carry this in the secret place where there was no human light, but where my presence was full. He who began a good work in you will carry it on to completion. Philippians 1:6. I do not begin and abandon, I lead you to fulfillment. Understand this deeply. My child, the silent seasons you have passed through were not empty nor wasted. They were the place where I built you with a precision you could not perceive at the time. In that stillness, I laid foundations, corrected misalignments, strengthened weaknesses, and expanded your capacity. You may have expected visible signs and measurable progress, but I chose to work in the depths, where your eyes could not measure. The wise builder dug deep and laid the foundation on the rock. Luke 6:48. And because that foundation was laid in hiddenness, you are now able to stand firm when I lift you. And now, you no longer stand within the promise as something distant. What I place upon you is no longer a vision to wait for, but a transition unfolding. You are no longer in preparation, you are entering manifestation. What was once concealed is now being revealed, not because you have reached perfection, but because the appointed time has come. Whoever is faithful in little will also be set over much. Luke 16:10. You are not placed here because of a moment, but because a process of faithfulness has been completed within you. Remember Joshua, my beloved. When he stood before the Jordan, he was no longer in the wilderness, merely following. He was called to lead. Yet that moment was not sudden. It was the result of years of quiet formation under the guidance of Moses. When the time came, he did not begin from nothing. He stepped into a role that had already been prepared within him. Be strong and courageous, for I am with you. Joshua 1:9. The transition did not come to test him, but to reveal what had already been placed within. My beloved, release the thought that you are still at the beginning. You are not standing at a starting line. You are standing at a continuation of a journey I have been leading all along. What you carry now is not something newly given in a moment, but something shaped through every choice, every act of obedience, every time you stood firm when no one was watching. Therefore, as you move forward from here, walk with the understanding that you do not need to become someone else to fit what I am opening before you. You only need to walk as the person I have already formed and established. What I am entrusting to you is not a burden for you to prove yourself. It is a commission for you to reveal what has been built within you. Be at peace. My child, what is happening is not a test. It is a confirmation. Not a fragile beginning, but a steady continuation. And as you move forward, you will realize that every silent season, every waiting period, every experience you have lived through is converging into this moment, where I am not merely speaking about what I will do, but actively doing it through you. My beloved child, Let your mind be renewed in this truth. You are no longer standing at the beginning, as you once believed. You are not one just entering the journey, but one standing at the continuation of a path I have guided through every step, every season, every experience. What you carry today is not something that appeared suddenly, but the result of a quiet process I have patiently built within you. Every choice you made, every act of obedience in unseen moments, every time you held your ground in trials, all of it has shaped you into who you are now. Therefore, do not look at your present as a fragile starting point. See it as a convergence, a place where everything I have done within you begins to crystallize and be revealed. They go from strength to strength, Psalm 84:7. You do not move from emptiness to fullness, but from one strength to another, from one depth to a deeper one. What you carry does not need to be proven again, for it has already been established in the hidden place before being revealed outwardly. You may not yet fully recognize the value of what has been formed within you, because it was not built through loud moments or obvious milestones. It was shaped in the days you chose to continue when you wanted to stop, in the moments you remained upright when no one acknowledged you, in the times you chose to trust when everything seemed uncertain. And I have seen it all. The Lord does not look at the things people look at. He looks at the heart, 1 Samuel 16:7. What I measure is not what others see, but what you have become. Remember Joseph, my child. When he stood before Pharaoh, he did not begin from nothing. The years in prison, the seasons of being forgotten, the moments he remained faithful in hardship, all of it prepared him for that moment. When he was lifted up, it was not a sudden leap, but the continuation of a long process completed within him. God has made me forget all my hardship, Genesis 41:51. He did not deny his past, but understood that it had carried him into his new position. So it is with you. You do not need to go back and question whether you are ready. You do not need to begin again to feel certain. You only need to recognize that you have been led here with clear purpose. What you carry is not a burden to fear, but a trust placed upon a foundation already made strong. Therefore, walk in this understanding. My child, you are not one experimenting with your path, but one continuing along a path already formed. Do not diminish yourself as though you were still at the starting point. Do not doubt the value of what I have done within you. What was formed in hiddenness will now become the foundation for what is revealed openly. Move forward, not as one beginning, but as one prepared, not as one lacking, but as one equipped. And as you continue, you will see that everything you have lived through is not a collection of scattered fragments, but a seamless journey, one in which I have been with you from the beginning, and in which I am still leading you into completion. My beloved child, listen in the quietness of your heart, for what I am doing does not begin in a distant place, but from the very things closest to you where you once thought everything was safe, familiar, and untouchable. I do not begin far away, because the roots of a life are always found in its nearest bonds. If that foundation carries cracks that have never been healed, I cannot allow them to keep spreading silently through the generations. Therefore, when you see those you love suddenly become vulnerable, when things once hidden are now confessed through tears and trembling, do not quickly close your heart. Do not let disappointment become a wall that separates love. What you are witnessing is not collapse, but the beginning of a deep deliverance. As it is written, rend your heart and not your garments, and return to the Lord your God, Joel 2:13. For true exposure is not meant to humiliate, but to open the way for restoration. And then, while your heart is still unsettled by those changes, you may wonder why I allow things that once seemed firm to be shaken. You are accustomed to outward stability, accustomed to what remains undisturbed. So, when the ground beneath your feet begins to tremble, you fear that everything will fall apart. But I say to you, I do not shake what belongs to me in order to destroy it, but to separate what is true from what is false. Whatever is built on truth will stand under the light. Whatever depends on concealment cannot remain when the new day dawns. As it is written, each one's work will become manifest, for the day will disclose it, because it will be revealed by fire, and the fire will test what sort of work each one has done. 1 Corinthians 3:13. So do not fear my fire, for it does not consume gold, it purifies it. Look more deeply. My child, when the truth is named, it is not the end of hope, but the doorway through which grace enters. For without a clear recognition of what has gone wrong, how can forgiveness touch the very place that needs healing? I do not expose in order to condemn, I reveal in order to set free. I do not uncover things to push you farther away, but to draw you closer into my arms. As I have said, I have no pleasure in the death of the wicked, but that the wicked turn from his way and live. Ezekiel 33:11. Therefore, every revealing is an invitation to return, not a sentence that closes the door. Do not forget that I am not standing outside your pain as a distant observer. I am not far away when tears fall. I am right there in the midst of those moments between you and your loved one, holding both of you in a love that shows no partiality. When you ache because you see the weakness of someone you love, I am also sustaining them within that very weakness. When you are confused by what has been brought into the open, I am guiding each step to bring everything into the light of healing. My light is not like a lamp that exposes in order to shame. My light is like the gentle dawn that drives away the mist, so you can see the path ahead clearly. As it is written, the light shines in the darkness, and the darkness has not overcome it. John 1:5. Wherever the light comes, darkness must depart. Remember the story of the Samaritan woman at the well. My child, when she came to draw water at noon, carrying within her the things she did not want anyone to know, he met her not to condemn her, but to touch the very place she had hidden. I spoke of the things she had tried to cover, not to make her ashamed, but to open the door to a new life. And in the very moment when the truth was spoken, she was not pushed away, she was drawn nearer to the source of living water. As I said to her, whoever drinks of the water that I will give him will never be thirsty again. John 4:14. So it is with you as well when truth touches you. It is a sign that I am leading you to a source of healing that will never run dry. Therefore, do not be afraid of what is being revealed. Do not let momentary pain cause you to misunderstand my purpose. When hidden things are brought into the open, the power of darkness is weakened. When truth is spoken, the chains of deception are broken. As it is written, you will know the truth, and the truth will set you free. John 8:32. So embrace the truth, even if it makes your heart ache for a moment, because through it, freedom will come. My beloved child, keep your heart tender in this season. Do not allow pain to turn you into someone closed off and guarded. Let love lead you through the things you do not yet understand. When you choose forgiveness instead of condemnation, you are partnering with my work. When you choose compassion instead of distance, you are opening a door for grace to flow through your family. And when you stand firm in truth without losing love, you become a place of stability that I can use to bring restoration. Believe that nothing I do is meaningless. Every shaking has a purpose. Every tear is remembered by me. Every revealing is one step closer to complete healing. You are not witnessing destruction. You are witnessing the process of rebuilding. And in that process, I do not take my eyes off you, nor do I remove my hand from those you love. I am weaving back together what was once tangled. renewing what was once wounded, and rebuilding what was once unstable. So then, my child, walk forward with trust. When you do not understand, lean on me. When you are hurting, remain in my love. And when you see truth being revealed, remember that it is not the end, but the beginning of a new chapter, one in which the light does not merely shine, but also heals, sustains, and leads you into a life that is deeper, truer, and more steadfast in me. My beloved child, there are things you once leaned on as solid pillars, but in this season, they will be brought into the place of testing by fire. Do not quickly conclude that everything is being destroyed, for what I am doing does not carry the nature of annihilation, but of refinement. I am not tearing down your house. I am touching the foundation so it may be rebuilt upon what cannot be shaken. As it is written, everyone who hears these words of mine and does them will be like a wise man who built his house on the rock. And the rain fell, and the floods came, and the winds blew, but the house did not fall. Matthew 7:24-25. Therefore, what you are going through is not a storm meant to bring an ending, but a process meant to ensure that what remains will stand firm through every season. I am turning hidden places into places of clarity, transforming heavy silence into a voice guided by light, and opening a space where truth and grace can dwell together without destroying one another. Within that flow, you may feel exhausted, as though every familiar layer is being peeled away and you no longer have anywhere to hide. But precisely there, I am setting you free from cycles that many generations before you never overcame. I am not only touching your present, I am severing invisible chains that have quietly passed from one generation to the next. As it is written, He heals the brokenhearted and binds up their wounds. Psalm 147:3. Therefore, each time truth rises to the surface, it is not cruelty. It is the healing hand working deeper than your eyes can see. Have the courage to remain in the light. My child, do not rush to pull back the veil that I am opening. You may be tempted to return to what feels familiar, to the place where everything is covered, where no one has to face the truth, but I am calling you forward, not backward. For if you choose to remain in the light, you will witness what darkness could never produce, true freedom. As it is written, walk as children of light, Ephesians 5:8. Because light does not only expose, it also guides, heals, and restores. There will be moments when you feel truth come like fire, not gentle as a soft breeze, but powerful as heat that reveals what has been hidden deep within. You will stand at the intersection of pain and hope, where everything seems to be separating, but you are not the one being swept away by that upheaval. You are the one I have appointed to stand firm within it. As it is written, the Word of God is living and active, sharper than any two-edged sword, piercing to the division of soul and spirit, Hebrews 4:12. So, when you feel that separation taking place, understand that I am making clear the boundary between what is true and what is false, between what belongs to life and what must be released. Remember Joseph, my child, when I led him through seasons of betrayal, misunderstanding, and being cast into a dark place. Everything seemed like the collapse of a promise. But I was not destroying his life. I was preparing him for a position he had never imagined. When the truth about him was finally revealed before Pharaoh, it was not a random moment, but the result of a long process I had been quietly guiding. As it is written, God sent me before you to preserve life, Genesis 45:5. So it is with you as well. What is being rearranged within your family is not meant to bring you low, but to lift you up at the appointed time. My beloved child, I know there are times when your heart trembles like water that has been stirred, no longer as still as before. When truth enters, It does not always come with a gentle sound. It may come like a blade that separates, like a strong light that makes you narrow your eyes. But do not fear that feeling. It is not a sign that you are losing something precious, but a sign that you are drawing nearer to what is real. I have placed you as a watchman within your own house, not so you may control everything, but so you may discern and stand firm. A watchman does not panic when the night comes, because he knows the dawn cannot be stopped. Therefore, do not run from the work I am doing. Do not hurry to soften the light simply because it makes you uncomfortable. Trust that I know every detail within your house. Not one dark corner escapes my sight, and not one crack is overlooked by me. I am opening a door that was once locked, so healing may enter. I am bringing an end to repeated cycles of silence and pain, and I am beginning to write a new story, one where truth is no longer feared, and grace is no longer limited. And a day will come when you look back on this season and no longer see it as a time of chaos, but as the moment when I reset the foundation of your family, a foundation no longer resting on things that had to be hidden, but built upon truth brought into the light, a foundation no longer held together by fear, but preserved by mercy, a foundation that does not tremble before circumstances, because it has been sealed by my unchanging love. As it is written, "Behold, I have set before you an open door, which no one is able to shut." Revelation 3:8. So step through that door with trust, for on the other side is not loss, but life fully restored in me. My beloved child, do not begin by trying to fix others. Begin with your own gaze. I want your eyes to become so clear that when others face you, they do not merely see you, but sense my kindness flowing through you. When you remain still amid heavy words and do not allow anger to lead you, you are speaking a language that needs no sound, the language of unchanging love. And within that peaceful silence, the old chains of wounded reactions and retaliation begin to break. As it is written, "A soft answer turns away wrath." Proverbs 15:1. Therefore, every time you choose gentleness instead of resistance, you are not being weak. You are exercising the authority I have placed within you. Perhaps you once thought you were placed in this situation merely to endure, to carry the burden, to silently bear difficult things. But I say clearly to you, you were not placed in that family to be worn down, but to become a turning point. You do not accomplish this by your own strength, but because you know how to bow low, how to seek me in the secret place. That very humility opens a flow of power that no one can see with natural eyes. As it is written, "Blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called sons of God." Matthew 5:9. Therefore, the role you are carrying is not accidental. It is a calling I am training you in day by day. Understand this deeply. My child, the shakings you are seeing are not meaningless chaos. I do not allow things to happen at random. I am touching invisible structures that have existed for a long time, patterns of fear, layers of false appearances, wounds that have never been named. These things have passed from generation to generation like a silent current. But in you, I am establishing a new boundary. You are not merely one individual in your family. You are the stopping point of a long chain and the beginning of another direction. As it is written, where sin increased, grace abounded all the more. Romans 5:20. Therefore, in the very place where darkness once seemed thickest, I am causing the light to rise more powerfully than ever before. You will see this more clearly when you no longer react in the old way. When you choose forgiveness instead of condemnation, you are rewriting the story. When you intercede instead of speaking judgment, you are changing the current of an entire bloodline. Those choices, though they may seem small, carry the weight of redirection. For every time you do not return wound for wound, you are cutting off one link in the old chain. Every time you choose love in the most difficult moment, you are opening a path that never existed before. Remember, David, my child, when he had the opportunity to take revenge on Saul, the one who had pursued him and harmed him, he did not choose the easy path of retaliation. He could have ended the cycle of violence by killing his enemy, but he chose to honor what I had appointed, to restrain his hand, and to let me be the judge. As it is written, I will not put out my hand against my Lord, for he is the Lord's anointed. 1 Samuel 24:6. That decision did not only spare Saul's life in that moment, it also shaped a different current for the kingdom that would come later. So it is with you as well when you do not act according to your natural reaction. You are stepping into a higher dimension of guidance. My beloved child, I know this is not easy. There are moments when you want to give up, when you want to answer back just to ease your heart, when you want to speak out everything you have been holding inside. But pause and remember that you no longer live according to the old way. You are no longer someone swept along by emotion or circumstance. You are the one I am using to redirect the course. When you are able to keep peace in the midst of chaos, you are not only guarding your own heart, you are opening a space where I can move. Therefore, do not underestimate your role. Do not think that what you do is small or insignificant. Every choice you make in secret is creating ripples you have not yet fully seen. You are a barrier against darkness, not through loud strength, but through steadfastness in the light. And at the same time, you are also a doorway through which blessing begins to flow, not only for you, but also for those around you. Continue to walk in this way. My child, do not be afraid when you do not see immediate results. What I am doing through you is not only for the present, but for the seasons ahead. A day will come when you look back and realize that the place once filled with conflict has become more peaceful, that the place once locked in silence has begun to speak truth in love. And you will understand that through the quiet choices you make today, I have changed the course of an entire family and established a new legacy, a legacy of truth, of grace, and of love that never runs dry in me. My beloved child, there are questions you have not spoken aloud, yet I hear them clearly within your heart. Why has this time come? And why must you stand in the midst of everything that is being revealed? Understand that this is not coincidence, but an appointed moment within my flow, a moment in which I have chosen to intervene, so the old cycles will no longer continue through the generations. If the light did not touch this place at the right time, invisible burdens would keep being passed down silently. But I have chosen you as a place of opening, not because you are more perfect than others, but because you are willing to let me work through you. As it is written, for everything there is a season, a time to pluck up what is planted, and a time to plant. Ecclesiastes 3:1. Therefore, this moment has not come to exhaust you, but to open the way for a change that has long been waiting. In the very place where you stand, I am entrusting to you a power that is not loud, yet carries great weight, the power of forgiveness. When you refuse to nurture bitterness, when you do not allow resentment to take root, you are breaking chains that once bound many before you. Forgiveness is not denying what happened, nor is it making the pain seem smaller. It is the decision to return judgment to me, the one who sees all things completely. As it is written, be kind to one another, tender-hearted, forgiving one another, as God in Christ forgave you. Ephesians 4:32. Therefore, every time you choose forgiveness, you are setting your own soul free and opening the way for healing to spread. When you release the right to hold on to pain, you also remove the power of bitterness from your own house. And while the things around you may seem chaotic, I give you a kind of peace unlike outward calm. It is not silence born of fear, nor is it avoidance of what is difficult to face. The peace I place within you is inward steadfastness, a stillness that is not shaken even when circumstances change. As I have said, peace I leave with you. My peace I give to you. Not as the world gives do I give to you. John 14:27. Therefore, you do not need to control every development in order to feel safe. You only need to remain in the trust that I am arranging all things, even the details you do not yet understand. When you keep your heart from being overtaken by fear, you are guarding the doorway of your soul against what would defile it, and keeping my flow within you clear and unhindered. Let your heart be kept in purity. My child, not by your own strength, but by choosing what is right again and again. When your heart is not filled with judgment, when your thoughts are not colored by suspicion and anger, you become a vessel through which my light can shine clearly. As it is written, blessed are the pure in heart, for they shall see God. Matthew 5-8. Therefore, in that purity, you do not only see me, you also reflect me to those around you. But understand the deeper mystery. What is unfolding is not merely a series of disturbances within the range of what you can see. This is a spiritual examination, a searching light not meant to condemn, but to untangle the things once overlooked, the words never truly faced, the invisible structures that once governed behavior and emotion. All of them are being brought into the light. And when the light begins to shine, nothing can stop it from spreading. As it is written, for nothing is hidden that will not be made manifest, nor is anything secret that will not be known. Luke 8:17. Therefore, doors once locked will be opened, and lies once repeated as though they were truth will lose their power when they stand before the truth. Remember King Josiah. My child, when the lost book of the law was found in the temple, he did not turn his face away from the truth, even though it exposed the waywardness of an entire nation. Instead, he tore his garments in repentance and led the people back to me. In that very moment, when truth was restored, a new current was opened, though the past had gone astray. The future could still be redirected. As it is written, because your heart was penitent, I also have heard you. 2 Kings 22:19. So it is with you as well when you do not resist the truth, but respond with a tender heart. I can work through you to bring change that reaches far beyond you. My beloved child, in all of this, I am placing you in the position of a keeper of peace, not as one who stands outside, and not as one swept away by the turmoil, but as one who keeps the fire from spreading into destruction. When you preserve stillness within your heart amid the confused words and emotions around you, you are creating a space where I can act. You do not need to fix everything, nor do you need to resolve it all. Your role is to keep your heart in me, so that through you, my peace may flow into the place where it is needed most. Therefore, do not fear this moment. Do not step back when the truth becomes clearer. You are not being placed in a situation beyond your strength. You are being positioned in the right place at the right time. And as you continue to stand firm in forgiveness, in purity, and in peace, you will see that what once felt chaotic will gradually be set in order. What once was locked will be opened, and a new order will be established, not by your strength, but by my hand moving quietly, yet surely. My beloved child, do not misunderstand forgiveness as though it means denying the pain you have endured. I am not asking you to forget, nor am I telling you to minimize what has wounded you. What I am inviting you into is a deeper liberation, the cutting of the invisible cord that keeps your soul bound to another person's wrong. When you hold on to bitterness, you think you are keeping control. But in truth, You are being tied to the very thing you long to escape. But when you release it, you lose nothing. You are opening the door for my grace to flood the place that was once sealed shut. As it is written, let all bitterness and wrath and anger be put away from you. Be kind to one another. Ephesians 4:31-32. Therefore, every time you choose forgiveness, you are allowing the flow of life to become clear and unhindered again. Look upon forgiveness as a sword with a twofold effect. My child, one edge cuts off the chains that keep others bound in their wrongdoing, but the other edge touches you as well, setting you free from a weight you were never created to carry. Do not let the lying voice whisper that letting go is weakness. Only those who stand firm in the Holy Spirit have enough strength not to return wound for wound. As I have said, be merciful, even as your Father is merciful. Luke 6:36. Therefore, when you choose mercy, you are not only doing what is right, you are reflecting my very nature in your life. But understand more clearly what I am doing within you. I am not training you to react according to circumstances, but to reign in peace. The authority I have placed within you is not loud display or forceful control, but the ability to remain centered within when everything outside is shaking. When others are swept away by emotion, you stand firm. When words become sharp, you keep gentleness without losing truth. As it is written, whoever is slow to anger is better than the mighty, and he who rules his spirit than he who takes a city. Proverbs 16:32. Therefore, the greatest control is not controlling circumstances, but keeping your heart in my order. You did not arrive here by accident. Every night you quietly sought me when no one saw. Every time you held yourself back when you could have reacted. Every moment you chose to kneel instead of argue. All of these are bricks I have used to build steadfastness within you. Nothing you have gone through has been wasted. I have trained you in the secret place so that you may stand firm in the open. When truth rises like fire, you are not consumed by it, because I have prepared you to stand within it without being shaken. Remember Stephen, my child, when he stood before those who were stoning him, he did not answer with anger, nor did he hold hatred in his heart. Instead, he looked up and said, Lord, do not hold this sin against them. Acts 7:60. In the moment that seemed like his greatest weakness, he revealed the greatest strength, the strength of a heart unpolluted by revenge. And in that very forgiveness, a new current was opened, touching those who witnessed it in ways they did not immediately recognize. So it is with you as well. What you choose today will touch more than you can see. My beloved child, I am not calling you to add oil to the fire that is already burning. I have placed water in your hands, the water of life, the water of calming, the water of healing. When you choose not to stir conflict further, you are partnering with me to soothe what is erupting. And in that very choice, you are not only keeping your own heart in peace, but also creating a space where I can move more clearly. Therefore, do not be afraid when you are called to let go. Do not think you are losing power when you refuse to hold on to judgment. You are entering a higher power, the power of freedom, of purity, of a soul no longer bound. When you forgive, you are not only releasing another person, you are stepping out of the invisible prison that hatred had built. Continue to walk in this way. My child, keep your heart tender, yet steadfast. Keep your gaze clear, yet full of discernment. And in all things, let my peace rule within you. Then you will see that where the fire of conflict once burned, the water of life will begin to flow. And through you, I will transform the atmosphere, not by your strength, but by my presence working within you, quietly yet irresistibly. My beloved child, every time you choose to let go instead of retaliate. You are not merely handling the situation before you, you are rewriting the spiritual current of your own bloodline. What was once passed down in silence, wounding, reaction, resentment is coming to a stop in you. You are becoming the boundary darkness cannot cross. And at the same time, the doorway through which blessing begins to enter. As it is written, "Blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called sons of God." Matthew 5:9. Therefore, the role you are carrying is not only to calm a conflict, but to lay the foundation for a different future, one in which those who come after you will no longer have to carry what you have courageously brought to an end. Understand that your choice carries a weight far beyond passing emotion. When you refuse to continue the cycle of anger, you are breaking a trajectory that has existed for a long time. Your forgiveness is like a bell ringing through the invisible realm, announcing that an old season has closed. It does not erase the past, but it cuts off the power of the past over the present and the future. And in the very moment you lay it down, you lose nothing. You are opening a new beginning, a beginning shaped by grace instead of painful memory. But my child, look deeply within yourself, because I am not only concerned with what you do outwardly. You cannot lead others into true change if your own heart is still covered by layers of bitterness that have not been washed away. Light cannot pass clearly through a soul still clouded by old reactions. Therefore, before I use you as a channel, I must cleanse you. This is not injury, it is refinement. As it is written, "He who has clean hands and a pure heart will receive blessing from the Lord." Psalm 24:4-5. Therefore, each time I touch what is hidden deep within you, I am preparing your words to carry life, not the lingering echo of pain. Let your words be transformed. My beloved child, when you forgive, your words are no longer arrows shot from a wound, but become streams of water that soothe thirst. When you remain in peace, your presence no longer carries the heaviness of conflict, but becomes the fragrance of life spreading outward. As it is written, "From the heart flow the springs of life." Proverbs 4:23. Therefore, I am tending that very spring within you, not only so that you may have peace, but so that through you, life may flow into the driest places. Remember Abraham, my child, when he and Lot faced tension because the land was not enough for both of them. Abraham had the right to choose the better portion, yet he released that right in order to preserve peace. He said, "Let there be no strife between you and me, for we are kinsmen." Genesis 13:8. That decision did not only preserve harmony in the moment, it opened a path for me to bless him in a greater measure. So it is with you as well when you choose peace instead of fighting to prove you are right. You are positioning yourself to receive something greater than what you could protect by your own hand. My beloved child, rise up in your spirit and affirm this within your heart. You choose peace. Do not underestimate that decision. It is not a small choice, but a declaration on an invisible battlefield. Your peace is not surrender to circumstances. It is a weapon the world does not understand. Your forgiveness is not loss. It is victory won without striving. When you keep your heart tender amid the shakings, you are stepping into a dimension that natural strength cannot touch. There are doors that only open when you refuse to react in anger. There are spiritual movements that are only activated when you choose stillness in me instead of speaking from emotion. When you do not allow anger to lead you, you are creating space for things you cannot see to begin moving. As it is written, "Not by might, nor by power, but by my Spirit." Zechariah 4:6. Therefore, do not try to win through words or arguments. Let me win through you by my truth and my presence. Therefore, my child, continue to keep your heart in purity and peace. Do not return to old reactions simply because they are familiar. You have been placed in a different position, a position of one who opens the way. And as you continue to walk like this, you will see that what was once conflict will gradually be replaced by reconciliation. What was once tension will be soothed, and a new current will be established, not by your own strength, but by me working through you, quietly, yet powerfully, to build a new legacy for your own bloodline. My beloved child, before every moment you face, two paths always open before you, not paths of circumstance, but paths of inward choice. One path pulls you back into familiar reactions, speaking from emotion, responding according to what you have received, holding on to pain like a layer of armor that you think will protect you. The other path is not loud, but it is deeper, the path of the Holy Spirit, where you pause to listen, where you choose prayer before action, and where you place judgment back into my hands. When you walk according to instinct, you do not truly escape the wound, you only keep the cycle turning. But when you choose to follow me, you are opening an invisible door for grace to pass through, not only touching you, but also spreading to those who belong to you. As it is written, walk by the Spirit, and you will not gratify the desires of the flesh. Galatians 5:16. For every step like this is a redirection of an entire current. Understand that you do not stand alone in those choices. What you decide today does not stop within the boundaries of your own personal life. You are carrying the history of what came before, and at the same time, you are opening the way for what will come after. When you hold fast to peace amid the tremors, you are raising a fence that natural eyes cannot see, yet one that carries real protection. When you forgive, you are not only freeing a relationship, you are cleansing the current from what once poisoned it through many generations. As it is written, the righteous is established forever. Proverbs 10:25. Therefore, every right choice you make is laying a foundation that time cannot erase. My beloved child, this is not an ordinary season. This is a time of increased restoration, where I am not only restoring what was lost, but also expanding what has never existed before. But you must understand that not everyone can stand firm in the flow of that blessing. Those who allow their hearts to be stained by bitterness, anger, or judgment will be swept away by the very things they hold on to. I am not demanding that you become perfect. I am calling you to keep your heart unpolluted. As it is written, blessed are the pure in heart, for they shall see God. Matthew 5:8. Therefore, purity is not something distant and unattainable. It is what opens your eyes to see me working right within the circumstance. Understand this clearly. When you forgive, you are not abandoning justice. You are simply returning justice to its rightful place in my hands. When you keep peace, you are not becoming weak. You are becoming impossible to control by the waves of emotion. The waves may rise, but they no longer have the authority to determine your direction. As it is written, commit your way to the Lord, trust in Him, and He will act. Psalm 37:5. Therefore, the stillness within you is not passivity, but active trust in my sovereign rule. Remember Gideon, my child. When I called him to face a vast army, I did not give him more strength in the way humans would expect. Instead, I reduced the number of those who went with him, so he would learn that victory does not come from numbers or outward power, but from obedience. As it is written, the people with you are too many, lest Israel boast over me. Judges 7:2. Therefore, when he walked with me in obedience, the impossible became reality. So it is with you as well. Your battle is not about speaking better, reacting faster, or proving that you are more right. Your victory is measured by whether you remain under my guidance. My beloved child, I am training you as a mature warrior, but not a warrior of visible battles. I am teaching you to fight in the unseen realm where words matter less than the heart, and where small actions carry great weight. You are not called to confront people with the sharpness of speech or with arguments of winning and losing. As it is written, "For we do not wrestle against flesh and blood." Ephesians 6:12. Therefore, your battlefield lies deeper than what the eyes can see. Therefore, whenever you stand before two paths, pause and choose to respond, not merely to react. Let the Holy Spirit lead you instead of allowing emotion to pull you along. Choose prayer instead of argument, listening instead of speaking too quickly, release instead of holding tightly, and then you will see that what once repeated itself like a spiral will gradually lose its force. What once felt heavy will become lighter, and a new current will begin to form, a current carrying life, healing, and peace that cannot be shaken. Walk in this understanding. My child, you are not living only for the present. You are shaping the future, and as you continue to choose me in each moment, you will become the point where the past is brought to a close, and a new beginning is opened, a beginning held firm by truth, nourished by grace, and guided by me himself. My beloved child, what I am forming within you is not the ability to wound, but the capacity to stand firm without being wounded by darkness. I am not making you cold or hardened. I am making you steadfast while still preserving the tenderness of a living heart. You are learning to discern instead of react, to seek me before you speak, and to stand still amid rising waves without being swept away. As it is written, "Be still, and know that I am God." Psalm 46:10. Therefore, the stillness within you is not weakness, but the sign of a deep awareness that I am sovereign in the midst of every upheaval. Do not let noise deceive you about strength. My child, true strength is not found in the volume of a voice or the dominance of an argument, but in the ability to keep your heart from being pulled downward when darkness tries to stir it. When you stand in what I have given you, in peace, in self-control, in clarity, you are not only protecting yourself, you are creating a space where light can spread. As it is written, "Put on the whole armor of God." Ephesians 6:11. For these are not weapons meant to attack people, but armor meant to keep you standing firm under invisible pressure. My child, I know there are times when your tears fall, and you wonder whether they make you weaker. But I say to you that tears do not dim you when you offer them to me. They cleanse your vision. When you do not hide your pain, but bring it before me, you begin to see more clearly not only what has gone wrong, but also what I am able to make new. As it is written, "Those who sow in tears shall reap with shouts of joy." Psalm 126:5. Therefore, not one tear is wasted. Each one becomes a seed for deeper understanding and wider love. And when your vision is purified, you will begin to see those around you not only through what they have done, but through what I have placed within them. You will no longer be limited by the viewpoint of the flesh, but will be lifted to see with the eyes of grace. This does not mean that you ignore the truth. It means that you see the truth in the light of hope. When your gaze changes, the atmosphere around you also changes. The tenderness in your heart is no longer a weakness. It becomes the place where I pour out oil. As it is written, "The Spirit of the Lord God is upon me, because the Lord has anointed me." Isaiah 61:1. Therefore, the anointing does not come upon closed hearts, but upon hearts that have learned to surrender. Remember Joseph, my child. He passed through seasons of betrayal and yet he did not allow his heart to harden. When he stood before those who had wounded him, he did not look at them through the pain of the past, but through the purpose I had fulfilled. He said, "You meant evil against me, but God meant it for good." Genesis 50:20. That very way of seeing turned pain into a foundation for the salvation of many. So it is with you as well when you allow me to purify your vision. You will see that what once wounded you no longer defines you, but becomes the very material I use to reveal grace. My beloved child, do not resist the light when it touches the hidden corners within you. The light does not come to shame you, but to cause you to shine. When you do not resist, the light will cover you when you open your heart. I will clothe you with my radiance, and once you carry the light, you are no longer only one who receives healing. You become a channel through which healing flows. The places you enter will become different, not because you are trying to change anyone, but because my presence within you leaves no room for darkness to remain. As it is written, "You are the light of the world," Matthew 5:14. And light does not need to argue with darkness to prove its worth. It only needs to be present, and darkness must withdraw. So it is with you as well when you abide in me. You do not need to strive to win through words or forceful actions. Your very life, the peace you carry, and the love you preserve, these are the living evidence of my presence. Therefore, continue to walk, my child, in tenderness that cannot be shaken. Let your tears become cleansing waters. Let your gaze become clear, and let your heart open for me to work. And then you will see that your victory is not found in what you have said or done to fight against darkness, but in the fact that you have remained in the light long enough for darkness to lose its influence. That is the victory of heaven, quiet, deep, and steadfast forever. My beloved child, recognize this in the deepest part of your soul. You no longer walk as one merely trying to get through each day. You are walking as one who carries a promise whose time has come to awaken. What I have begun is not a small, isolated change, but a redirection of the entire current to which you belong. The things that once continued through many generations, the cycles of wounding, the patterns of fear, are coming to a stop in you. Not because you are stronger, but because I have appointed the time. As it is written, I will establish my covenant with you for an everlasting covenant. Genesis 17:7. Therefore, what I am doing does not only touch the present, it extends into generations you have not yet seen. Do not look back on the days of testing with bitterness. My child, those days were not wasted, nor were they evidence that you had been abandoned. They were the path I used to bring you to this very hour. I did not bring you out of the fire so you would stand among ashes. I brought you out so I could place you in the light I had prepared. And that light does not remain still, it spreads. You will see places once filled with conflict begin to sprout harmony, and places once heavy with silence begin to echo with laughter. The things you once whispered through tears will become what you behold with your own eyes. As it is written, those who sow in tears shall reap with shouts of joy. Psalm 126:5. Therefore, believe that every tear has become a seed for the harvest that is coming. I speak over you and over your bloodline that restoration is no longer a distant promise, it is already moving in this very hour. You are no longer standing on the edge of grace, you are standing in the midst of its flow. Therefore, keep walking with a grateful heart and with your gaze lifted. Do not let doubt dim what I am revealing. As it is written, the Lord will fulfill his purpose for me. Psalm 138:8. Therefore, what I have begun, I will also bring to completion. This dawn does not merely mark a new day, it opens a new era for your family, an era in which the light is no longer hindered. My beloved child, I have heard every prayer you have prayed. The words you have lifted up have not disappeared into emptiness. They have risen before me like a fragrant offering. When you place your whole family, your bloodline, the generations that have passed, and the generations still to come within your intercession. You are standing in a very special position, the position of one who stands within the covenant. You are not praying for yourself alone. You are touching history and the future at the same time, and I do not take that lightly. As it is written, "If my people humble themselves and pray, then I will hear from heaven and will heal their land." 2 Chronicles 7:14. Therefore, that promise is covering your family. Unconfined by time, you speak of the blood of the righteous one, and you have touched the truth. No human strength can cleanse what has accumulated through many years, but that blood has the authority to close the doors that darkness once used to enter. When you call for old pathways to be closed and new ones to be opened, you are asking for a transfer of authority. And I, the one who holds the keys, I'm acting. The whispers of the past will lose their power, and the old patterns will no longer be repeated. As it is written, they have conquered him by the blood of the Lamb and by the word of their testimony. Revelation 12:11. Therefore, every word you speak in faith carries the weight to break invisible chains. My child, I have not called you to carry the burden of darkness, but to carry my light. When you place your hand upon your chest and confess what you believe, you are not merely speaking words. You are establishing a spiritual boundary. Just as Joshua once stood before the people and said, "As for me and my house, we will serve the Lord." Joshua 24:15. That declaration is now resounding within your own home. Every confession spoken in my name is like a hammer strike, breaking chains, and every prayer is like a door open for freedom to enter. Remember Ezra, my child. When he stood before the people after the exile, he did not merely read the law again, he led them into the restoration of covenant. The people wept when they heard the truth, but in those very tears, a new foundation was being built. As it is written, "The joy of the Lord is your strength." Nehemiah 8:10. Therefore, restoration does not stop at recognizing what has gone wrong. It leads into a new strength to walk differently. Therefore, my beloved child, continue to stand firm in the position where I have placed you. Do not see yourself as one who merely carries a burden, but as one who has been entrusted. You are not fighting to obtain victory. You are walking in the victory I have already prepared. And as you continue to walk in faith, you will see that what was once darkness will retreat. What was once locked will open, and a new legacy will be formed, a legacy of truth, of grace, and of love that never changes. Go forward, my child, with steadfast faith. For I, the one who keeps covenant, I'm bringing to completion what I have promised, and what I have begun in you will not stop with you, but will spread like the morning light touching your family, your bloodline, and the generations who will one day look back and know that it was through you that a new era was opened. My beloved child, change the way you see yourself, because I no longer call you one who is merely trying to survive the storm. I am positioning you as one who is sent with a clear purpose. One who merely survives shrinks back to avoid being wounded, but one whom I send walks with the awareness that their life carries a mission. I did not rescue you so you would hide in a dark corner. I brought you into the light so that you yourself would become light. When you believe that the current within you has been cleansed, you do not receive only for yourself. You are opening the way for a new flow of blessing to pour through those who will come after you. As it is written, "Blessed shall you be when you come in, and blessed shall you be when you go out." Deuteronomy 28:6. Therefore, that blessing is no longer something distant. It is being activated right within your own house. Therefore, keep your heart in trust, and do not allow thoughts of doubt to creep in and dim what I am establishing. I know there are times when you look back at the past and wonder whether those tears meant anything, but I say to you that not one tear has fallen without being remembered by me. The years you quietly endured, the times you prayed in silence, the moments when you thought no one saw, all of them were seeds planted in the soil. And as it is written, those who sow in tears shall reap with shouts of joy. Psalm 126:5. Therefore, the harvest is not merely something that may happen, it is something that will surely come. My child, I am preparing to transform the very things that once made you bow your head into reasons for you to stand upright. The stories you once wanted to hide because of pain will become testimonies of my grace. The places that were once wounds will become places where I reveal healing. As it is written, I will restore to you the years that the swarming locust has eaten. Joel 2:25. Therefore, what you thought was lost has not been erased. I am restoring it in a way that exceeds what you can imagine. Remember David, my child, when he was hunted, misunderstood, and forced to hide in caves. He did not immediately see the purpose of those days, but in those very dark places, I formed within him a heart that knew how to depend on me, and a spirit that could not be broken. And when the appointed time came, he did not step onto the throne as a fortunate man, but as one who had been prepared. As it is written, he drew me up from the pit of destruction and set my feet upon a rock. Psalm 42. So it is with you as well. What you have passed through was not only so you could survive, but so you could be firmly established for what lies ahead. My beloved child, do not return to the old mindset of one who is only trying to get through today. You have entered another stage, the stage of one who carries purpose. When you walk with that awareness, every action you take carries meaning. Every word you speak carries weight. And every choice you make carries influence. You are no longer led by circumstance. You are led by what I have placed within you. And as you continue to walk, keep your heart tender and grateful. Do not let what you have not yet seen cause you to forget what I have already done. Gratitude will keep your vision clear, and trust will keep your steps steady. As it is written, trust in the Lord with all your heart, and do not lean on your own understanding. Proverbs 3-5. Therefore, you do not need to understand everything in order to keep walking. You only need to trust that I am leading you. Then a time will come when you look back and realize that your journey was not a series of disconnected events, but a picture I have skillfully woven together. The pieces that once seemed scattered will connect again, and you will see that nothing was useless. You will see that the tears became a source of joy, and the dark days became the foundation for a brighter light. Therefore, my child, walk with your head lifted high, not because you no longer face trials, but because you know you are being led. Keep your heart in peace, for you are no longer one who is merely trying to survive. You are one who has been sent, one who carries the promise, one who opens the way for a new current. And as you continue to walk in this way, you will see that what I began in you will spread outward, touching your family, your bloodline, and the generations who will call you the one who stood firm when the time of fulfillment came. My beloved child, I have heard every word you have lifted up, every prayer in which you longed for my love to soak deeply into every part of your being, not only touching your emotions, but entering the most hidden places of your soul, where memories and traces of the past once remained. That prayer is not unfamiliar to me. It moves in harmony with my very will for you. I did not create you to live with your head bowed beneath the pressure of what is past, but to rise in the dignity of one who has been set free. As it is written, if the Son sets you free, you will be free indeed. John 8:36. Therefore, the freedom I give is not a vague idea, but a reality that can spread from one heart opened before me to an entire bloodline being transformed. And today, You are the starting point of that spreading. I speak over you with the confidence of a father who sees what was placed within you before you ever recognized it. The fire I have kindled will not go out. It does not depend on favorable circumstances or stable emotions. It is kept by me himself. The peace I have placed in your heart is the same. It is not fragile before storms, nor can it be stolen by the changes around you. As I have said, peace I leave with you. Let not your hearts be troubled. John 14:27. Therefore, you do not need to seek assurance from the outside. Your stability comes from the fact that I am with you, and I do not abandon what I have begun. You will begin to see changes, not first in grand things, but in very ordinary moments, simple meals, conversations that seem insignificant, small gestures you might once have overlooked. Yet it is precisely there that my light within you is quietly at work. Without pressure, without display, my presence through you will soften the places that were once hardened. As it is written, those who sow in tears shall reap with shouts of joy. Psalm 126:5. Therefore, what you have sown has not been lost. The harvest is opening before your eyes, and you will recognize that the small things are often the very places where I work most deeply. Step out of the remaining fear. My child, you no longer stand on the front line of reaction, where emotion controls every step. You are standing in the position of one whose victory has already been appointed, not because you were never weak, but because you chose what was right in the hardest moments. You forgave when you had every reason to hold on to resentment. You kept peace when you had the opportunity to erupt. None of this is forgotten before me. As it is written, God is not unjust so as to overlook your work. Hebrews 6:10. Therefore, every quiet choice you have made is contributing to what I am establishing. You are not only being delivered from what lies behind, you are being sent into what lies ahead. I am placing upon you a new current, a current that no longer carries the marks of old bondage, but bears the seal of purity and purpose. Your identity is no longer defined by what you have endured, but by what I have spoken over you. And from you, what was once passed down through generations will no longer continue as before. As it is written, if anyone is in Christ, he is a new creation. The old has passed away. 2 Corinthians 5:17. Therefore, you are standing at the boundary between the old and the new, the place where I am establishing a different direction. I declare over your life that your bloodline will carry the mark of being set apart, not because they will never face trials, but because they are kept within covenant. The burdens that once weighed upon the shoulders of those before you will no longer be passed on. The bondages that once imprisoned will be undone by truth. My light will dwell in your house, not as a temporary guest, but as an abiding presence. As it is written, the light shines in the darkness, and the darkness has not overcome it. John 1:5. Therefore, where the light abides, darkness no longer has the right to rule. My beloved child, do not doubt what I am establishing. Every time you declare in faith, you are partnering with me. Every time you pray, you are opening a pathway for grace to move. Not one word spoken in trust is overlooked by me, and I place upon you the blessing that has been preserved through generations. The Lord bless you and keep you. The Lord make his face to shine upon you and be gracious to you. The Lord lift up his countenance upon you and give you peace. Number 6, 24-26. That peace does not come from favorable circumstances, but from my unchanging presence within you. Therefore, walk with this assurance. My child, you are no longer crying out in the darkness of uncertainty. You are living under the light of a promise that has been activated. Your bloodline is no longer defined by old wounds, but by grace that is now at work. And I, your Father, am keeping that covenant, not by your strength, but by my unchanging love, a love that will guide, cover, and complete what I have begun in you. My beloved child, the fire I have placed within you was not kindled so it could be hidden away. It was not born for you to shrink back out of fear of being misunderstood. Nor was it given to you so you could display it as your own achievement. That fire carries a clear purpose, to light the path as you walk through dark places, to warm hearts that have grown cold, and to remind the souls around you that hope is still alive. As it is written, nor do people light a lamp and put it under a basket, but on a stand, and it gives light to all in the house. Matthew 5:15. Therefore, the light within you is not yours to keep, it is mine to reveal through your life. When you enter a place, you do not need to announce beforehand what I have done. My presence will go with you like a gentle fragrance that others can sense, even if they cannot name it. Tensions will settle, troubled minds will slow down, and closed hearts will begin to soften. This does not come from your ability, but from me dwelling within you and working through you. As it is written, we are the aroma of Christ. 2 Corinthians 2:15. Therefore, your very life, when fully surrendered, becomes a revelation that needs no explanation. When you speak, let your words carry life rather than the need to win. Do not speak to prove that you are right, and do not speak to overpower others, but speak as one who sows seed, sowing goodness, sowing healing, sowing what builds up. For when I am within you, every word you speak can become a seed capable of taking root in the heart of the listener. As it is written, gracious words are like a honeycomb, sweetness to the soul and health to the body. Proverbs 16:24. Therefore, your words, when guided by me, are not merely sound, they carry life. And remember that there are times when your silence is stronger than words. When you choose not to react, when you keep peace instead of stepping into an argument, you do not become invisible. The silence filled with me within you carries a weight that needs no explanation. There are moments when the peace upon your face will speak more than a long sermon ever could. As it is written, in quietness and in trust shall be your strength. Isaiah 30:15. Therefore, the stillness within you is not emptiness, it is fullness of presence. My child, you have not been placed in the world to blend into the darkness, nor have you been called to fight it with noise. You have been set like a lamp lifted high, steady, unmoved by every passing wind. Light does not need to argue with darkness, it only needs to be present, and darkness must retreat. As it is written, the light shines in the darkness, and the darkness has not overcome it. John 1:5. Therefore, you do not need to fear when you step into dark places. The light within you does not depend on circumstances. It comes from me. My beloved child, I call you a keeper of covenant, and that carries deep meaning. You no longer live according to passing emotions or temporary reactions. You live upon what I have spoken, a foundation that does not change. As it is written, I have set before you life and death, therefore choose life. Deuteronomy 30:19. And you have chosen life when you forgave instead of holding on to resentment, when you kept peace instead of allowing anger to lead you. Those choices are not small, they are the signs of a new direction. Therefore, do not turn back to examine the old doors that have already closed. Do not let your mind be pulled back into the past to wonder whether the chains have truly fallen. Trust what I have completed, even when you have not yet seen the full result. As it is written, he who began a good work in you will bring it to completion. Philippians 1-6. Therefore, what I have begun in you will not be left unfinished. Keep walking, my child, in the light I have placed within you. Do not make small what I have given, and do not carry it with pride. Carry it with humility and steadiness. And as you continue to shine in this way, you will see that wherever you pass through, the atmosphere changes, hearts open, and hope is awakened, not because you are striving to make it happen, but because I am alive within you, and my light cannot be hidden. My beloved child, open the eyes of your heart to recognize that blessing does not only burst forth in great moments, but is quietly soaking into every small detail of your life. You will recognize change, not by loud signs, but by gentle movements, a voice that was once sharp becoming softer, misunderstanding gradually giving way to compassion, a mind once scattered beginning to grow clear like dawn spreading across the earth, and where your heart was once heavy, joy will return, not as a passing emotion, but as a calm and enduring current. As it is written, "Blessed is the man who trusts in the Lord. He is like a tree planted by water." Jeremiah 17:7-8. Therefore, you do not need to search for life. You are being planted beside its very source. Understand that what I am doing does not stop at creating a moment for you to remember. I do not come to touch lightly and then withdraw. I come to change the inner structure of your being. When I heal, I do not merely patch the cracks, I renew the foundation. When I deliver, I do not only pull you out of darkness, I place you on an entirely different trajectory. You no longer circle around old memories as you once did. You are walking on a new path, where every step confirms that you are living in my covenant and no longer under the direction of fear. As it is written, if anyone is in Christ, he is a new creation. 2 Corinthians 5:17. Therefore, the renewal you are experiencing is not outward, it is a new nature I am forming within you. My child, I am not only removing what is old, I am repositioning you. You are no longer defined by what has happened, but by where I am leading you. What you carry today is no longer the mark of woundedness, but the seal of purpose. And as you continue to walk in trust, you will realize that blessing is not something you must chase after. It is not ahead of you for you to pursue. It is the river in which you are already standing. As it is written, whoever believes in me, out of his heart will flow rivers of living water. John 7:38. Therefore, that flow does not come from the outside. It pours out from within you as you abide in me. Therefore, my beloved child, walk with a new posture. Do not bow your head like one who is still weighed down, but lift it high like one who knows they are being led. Do not tremble like one who is uncertain, but stand firm like one who knows they are in my hands. You are no longer being pushed along by circumstances or emotions. You are being led by my Holy Spirit. As it is written, for all who are led by the Spirit of God are sons of God. Romans 8:14. Therefore, every step you take is not random. It rests within my guidance. Remember Joshua when he stood before the people and before the promised land. He was no longer the one who followed as before, but the one who would lead them into what I had promised. Though there were challenges ahead, he was given this assurance: be strong and courageous, for the Lord your God is with you wherever you go. Joshua 1:9. So it is with you as well. You do not walk alone. I go before you to open the way. I remain with you to keep you steady, and I stand behind you to protect what I have begun. My beloved child, this new season is not something you are imagining. It is a reality unfolding day by day, step by step, and as you continue to keep covenant, to carry the light, and to keep your heart in me, you will see that the flow of blessing does not stop. It will continue to move through you, through your family, and through the generations yet to come. As it is written, my word shall not return to me empty, but it shall accomplish that which I purpose. Isaiah 55:11. Therefore, what I have spoken over you will not be hindered. So walk on, my child. Do not return to what is old, and do not doubt what is new. Remain in my presence, and let the water of life continue to renew you each day. For I, the one who keeps my promise, I am assuring you that what I began in you will not stop. It will become a river that never runs dry, spreading outward and enduring forever.